Hey everyone, it's Steven from Social Transformation, and I'm a little bit weird. Yep, sort of come to terms with that over the years. You know, in high school, I never really, or throughout any of school, never really felt like I belonged anywhere or fit in anywhere. Part of the reason I kept to myself and had trouble making friends really because I always felt like I was, you know, different than other people in, many different ways. I look relatively normal and I dress normal. I don't get too crazy with what I wear, but I've always been different. I've always, had different music tastes from other people and different sense of humor. My humor can be very dry and awkward, and even among my friends, they would constantly tell me, "Steve, you're so weird. You're so weird. Like, why would you say that? And you're just strange." And I always knew that about myself. So, at first it was something that I would try to hide, but I slowly became a little bit more comfortable being weird. Um, I used to be really into sort of weird experimental music that didn't really have a melody or didn't have a rhythm and didn't have singing or lyrics, but that was something that I was into. And mostly I would keep it to myself and listen to it and even try to make some of that type of music to myself. But then I started showing myself more to other people, and I started performing a little bit and putting on my own shows and, exposing people to who I really am. And, most people, they didn't really get it. They see me perform on this guitar that's put on its side and I'm plucking at the strings and going through different effects, and most people didn't really get it. They didn't really like it. But it was part of who I am. So I had to, be true to myself, be honest with myself. And people usually appreciate you for being honest with yourself and being true to yourself, even if it is a bit weird or strange or they don't get it. People still appreciate that. I remember one time I did this really strange thing. I was at driving school back in high school, and all the students that would take this driving class, they weren't really a part of my high school, so I didn't really know them. So that made me kind of have a little bit of fun with it, I guess, because I figured since I'm around strangers, if I acted strange, then I would never see them again, really, So we were hanging out before class, and there was about, maybe a little less than 100 students, sort of just around the walls, talking to each other and stuff. And it was during the winter, so I had this big, poofy winter jacket on. And I wasn't talking to anyone at the time. I was just sort of hanging out, waiting for class to start. And I just got this really strange idea. And what I did was I went to the back of the room. I ran, right in the middle of the room. Everyone saw me. Everyone was gathered along the walls. So everyone saw me. And then I just slid on the ground with my big poofy jacket. Like a penguin, kind of. Like I thought of myself as like a penguin. And I just sort of ran and slid. And then I walked out of the building because I was sliding toward the doors. So I walked out of the building. And I was like, why did I do that? I don't know, I had a strange urge just to be super bizarre. And then I walked back into the building about a minute later, and everyone cheered for me, actually. I don't know, they thought it was funny, I guess, so it was kind of interesting. I mean, I'll never forget it. And I got a reaction out of people, and they thought it was funny, I guess. But I don't know why I did that. I really, even today, I don't know why I did that. Just a very strange urge, and yeah. So that's one example of my strangeness. But so I've slowly learned to embrace my weirdness a little bit more over the years. And the weird thing about embracing your weirdness is that, a lot of people aren't going to get it. A lot of people are going to just find you to be weird and strange. But there's also going to be times where people do get it, and people appreciate it, and they like you for being who you are. So my lesson to you guys today is, embrace your weirdness a little bit. I'm sure a lot of you guys that follow my page and you have social anxiety, and you might have eccentric tastes, or you dress a little weird, or you talk weird, or you have a weird sense of humor, or whatever your weirdness is and wherever your weirdness comes from. It's a part of who you are still, right? And you have to be honest with yourself and be yourself, as the cliche goes. And you'll find that your weirdness isn't such a bad thing, and that some people are going to like you for your weirdness, and you're going to be more happy with yourself when you don't try to always hide that weirdness. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. Be weird, embrace your weirdness. It's fine. You're gonna make friends by being weird. Sometimes you're gonna, attract other weird people that are like you. And sometimes you're not gonna attract people. Sometimes you're gonna turn people off. But that's sort of the cost you pay for being yourself. Is that on one hand, it's gonna make people not like you, possibly. But then other times it's going to make people like you. So you have to be yourself. It's how you attract the right people. And whatever your weirdness may be comfortable with it and embrace it. And it's a part of who you are. So just wanted to leave you guys off on that note. And I hope you guys have a good Tuesday.